know it's been a minute since the last episode of SGN, which isn't good news. But you know what is some good news? The Power of Peace program is coming to Central Park. Some of you may have already met its founder, Mr. Michael Arterberry. I recently sat down with Mr. Arterberry to find out more about the Power of Peace program and how we will be participating. Let's take a look.
So welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Yes. I'm excited not only to be with you today, but I'm really excited to be able to come to Central Park Middle School and spend some time with the young people.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe about how you got the Youth Voices Center started?
You know, I don't want to go into too much of my story because I tell the young people a lot about it. Actually, some of the young people went through an orientation, a kickoff, and they saw some of my background. But I grew up in a home with a raging alcoholic father. I grew up in poverty. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. And if you look at my profile as a young person, I probably would have been slated as being someone that was going to struggle through life and potentially not have, a good outcome. But I used all those things that were negative, found proper perspective, and I used them as a catalyst to push me to be successful. So, my passion for working with young people and the youth is the fact that I feel that we can take the things that we go through, and rather than becoming a victim to it, we can use them to lift us up and go after it.
So can you tell us a little bit about what you do with Youth Voices and maybe a little bit of the Power of Peace program without giving too much away?
Yeah. I won't give too much away. Well, Youth Voices Center is a nonprofit that I was able to create from the success of the Power of Peace program. So, I was able to actually create my own nonprofit by bringing the Power of Peace out to different schools. But what the program is about allowing the student to look at their lives underneath a magnifying glass and really get to look at how, if they could, position and make their lives the best possibilities to be successful. So we're able to look at it and dissect it and move pieces around so that we can have the best result at the end of the day when we move forward to accomplish our goals. That's what I do in a nutshell. That's just the Cliff Note version.
And how long does this process usually take?
So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to virtually walk the students through the process from now, mid-April until the end of June. We actually have dates on the calendar. What's going to happen at the end of June is I possibly will see a group in person, before the school year's out. But when we return next year, with all goes well with COVID, it will all be in person. And then those workshops are done over an entire day. So the students get out of class, they come to me, and I run them through an interactive experience that allows them to capture everything I just told you about 2 minutes ago.
So you said you've already done an orientation with some of the students. Are those the students you'll be working with this year and into next year?
Mr. Rogers is no joke. So I say this because I think I'm going to have an opportunity to work with all of the now 6th graders and all of the now 7th graders. So I don't think the way it looks now, and Mr. Rogers, I hope he doesn't, I don't get in trouble for this. The way it looks now, I don't see that he's selecting specific groups. I think everyone at some level will be exposed to something or somewhat, some sort of connection to the Power of Peace program. But also what we want to do is the language that we use in the program we want to allow it to bleed into the fabric of the school so that the young people, it's a culture. So, coming back into the building after COVID, after being able to deal with this traumatic event, we want to bring this loving, caring, optimistic, happy feeling into Central Park Middle School when we kick it off. Well, we're going to start it now, but when we kick it off in September, we're going to be on a whole nother level.
So do you think you'll be able to, will you be meeting with all of the students, all current 6th graders and 7th graders before the end of this year, or is that to come next year?
No, this year, virtually they'll all get the opportunity to see me. What I'll do is, it looks like they've selected specific classes that they will come to me virtually. And then it's also on the student, it's during class time. So I'm hoping that students don't try to dodge it and not be there. But it's during the actual academic time. So I'm hoping if they're in school, they're going to see me. So 7th and 8th graders, as of now, if I'm speaking correctly, which I'm sure of it, they will all have contact with me this year through virtual.
So yeah, let's hope they actually come and attend the Google Meet that day and they get to hear what this exciting opportunity is for them. Are you going to also include staff in this, in the workshop, or is it strictly for students?
Staff is mandatory, Jennifer. And the reason why it's mandatory is because, I'm not going to be at your school all year. So I would like to have staff be a part of the process so that when I leave the building, the essence and the energy that's created within the program can be continued. And also, I'll tell you this, some of the material that I use in my workshops are not youth, like I do adult groups and I do youth groups.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't change my material according to if I'm going to a middle school, if I'm going to a high school, if I'm going to a college or corporation. What I'm saying is, even as adults, put it this way, the teacher must always be the student if they want to be able to better themselves. So for a teacher to participate, it's for them to come into the group and learn just like their students are able to learn about themselves as well.
So do they learn with the students, or are those done separately for the adults?
No, they get to interact with the kids. What's really nice about virtual, they won't feel it. So I mean, I'm sorry, teachers, you won't get the big bang virtually, but in person, what you get is, I have a gift to make young people forget that I'm in the room. Really. I mean, I just kind of blend in. I call it finding their rhythm. So I find their rhythm and we just, we hang out. And I say that because the teachers will get the opportunity during these workshops, and that's what I call them, to see the students outside of the academic environment. And I'll tell you this, not to give away too many things about the program, and for the teachers just to be mindful of it. One of my activities I do is we share different parts of our lives. And I'll never forget, I was with a middle school group, and at the end of the program, we're going to all share an item that means a lot to us. And imagine we're sitting in a circle, Jennifer, and as we're sitting in a circle, everyone's showing their item. So we're going around the circle and we get to this girl and she pulls out a picture of her and her dad. And we're waiting for her to tell us this really wonderful story. And Jennifer, she tells us this really, really sad story, about how her dad didn't want her and how, just the things that a little girl shouldn't be hearing from a father. And 3 people away from her was a teacher who was about to show a picture of his family and his connection. And he was crying like a baby. tears were running down his face before he didn't show his picture because he felt too bad. And he got up, Jennifer, and he went over and he hugged her. And you know what? After that experience, Jennifer, he will never walk into another classroom and look at a group of students the same way again. Because he realized in that moment that outside of that academic time, these kids can live some really horrific lives.
Sounds like we are in for a very moving and powerful time spent with you, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm really excited that the adults and the kids do get to experience this together, because I do think that's a great way to get to know the students, get to know the teachers, and the teachers get to know the students outside of the classroom. So that sounds just really exciting.
Yeah, and teachers, I know after I told that, they get all nervous. Listen, it's not, I don't invade your privacy. It's done very delicately. You know what I'm saying? So tell them, please don't get nervous. It's going to be okay. But yeah, exactly like you said, we get to learn each other on a whole new level.
So how long have you been doing this for?
I 2008, I went to college to be a social worker, and I started working with youth, and they were giving me programs to do with the youth. And so imagine my boss would go online, buy a program, give it to me, and then when it wasn't successful, I would get in trouble. So I said, you know what? I'm tired of getting in trouble. So I said, I'm going to create my own. And that's what I did. I created my own program in 2008, shopped it a little bit, and eventually I found a philanthropist who really wanted to see me launch, and got behind me and gave me the ability to get my program out there and to build the momentum. I'm no longer connected to the philanthropist, but I'm still doing the work that I set out to do in 2008.
Have you been to Schenectady before?
Oh, man. Let me tell you, I can guarantee that within your middle school, there's students that I've had either their aunt, uncle, cousin. I was in Schenectady High School with my program for about 10 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, for about 10 years. So, I've had quite a few Schenectady students. So I'm sure there's some overlap. Once they, to hear what they'll find with me, virtually you don't really get it. But I call all the kids that go through my program, I have biological kids, so I have 2 of my own, but every kid that goes through my program become my surrogate children. And I mean that. So there's Schenectady High School students that I still, to this day, correspond with. So, I'm sure that they may have heard of me. They may run back, they may go back home and say it, and hear grandma, auntie, or big brother say, "Oh, I know that guy. I had him when I was at Schenectady High School."
So I don't want you to reveal too much about what we're going to be, or revealing your secrets. But is there anything else that you'd like to add before we sign off?
What I want the young people to do is this. First and foremost, especially with virtual, because it's challenging, is to come with an open mind. They got to come with an open mind. When they sign on with me, they need to know that it's not an opportunity for them to sit back in front of the computer and just get time off because it's not academic. So that's first and foremost. Second to that, what I want them to understand is that if they are able to take this and digest it properly, this is a life-changing experience, Jennifer. And I've been told that by teachers, and I've been told that by students, and I want all of the young people at Central Park to have an opportunity to feel this life-changing opportunity, but you get out of it what you put into it.
That's really great advice. I think, if for life in general, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me today. I'm really, really excited to get to meet you in person and to participate in the Power of Peace program.
Yeah, you better put your name on the list first,
Oh,
Jennifer.
it's right at the top of the list, I hope.
All right. Sounds
All right.
good.
Well, it was really nice talking to you. Thank you again for taking the time.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Well, Central Park, that's it for today's episode of SGN. I hope that you are looking forward to participating in the Power of Peace program. Wow, that's a lot of alliteration. Are you interested in helping to make future episodes of SGN? Then you should join the SGN Club. We meet Thursdays after school, and we hope to continue this into next year's school year. If you want more information on joining the SGN Club, you can contact me, Mrs. Bailey, or Mr. Martin. So until next time, see you later, Central Park.